Good morning, everyone. We are the second group, and our concept paper is titled Divide and Conquer Perception of the Students on Their Experiences and Struggles from the Current Learning Modalities from Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Santa Mesa Campus, academic year 2020 to 2021. So, the aim of our research is to find out the implications of the students' economic status to their own experiences, how the digital divide influences the student's experience under the current learning mode, and how does the student view the present digital divide that is existing in this modern society. So, due to health concerns from the existing pandemic, our education has migrated to online classes, to online platforms as an alternative to physical classes. The readiness of the students, the universities, and their preferred mode of learning was asked all throughout different schools and universities in order to prepare. As we are adjusting to online learning, it is also an opportunity to test the nation's technological preparedness. However, not all students can keep up with the transition to online learning. In the case of college students, which are the respondents for this research, who could either be supported by parents or supporting themselves, not all students have the kind of access to the technology that online learning requires. So we will define the terms used in our research. First, what is digital divide? This term is used to define the gap between people who do not have access to information and communication technology. Its origins come from the US back in the 1990s. It is a social inequality product which emphasizes the socioeconomic classes. This concept explains that since resources are not equally distributed among people, it also affects their capacity to gain and adapt to the knowledge and equipment to become a computer literate. What is the importance of the socioeconomic status of a person in this study? So, the socioeconomic status of a person defines the gap they experience in the digital divide. A study by BAT 2017 shows that students with higher socioeconomic status demonstrate better academic performance than those with lower socioeconomic status. And then the third is the current learning modalities, which refers to the online learning classes, which include synchronous and asynchronous mode and modular learning. We chose this research topic because aside from it being timely and relevant, it could help people be informed about the situation of the students as well as a variety of factors that could influence the experience the students could have in the present online learning setup.
Our respondents are 13 students from different years, courses, and both from the online and correspondence mode of learning of PUP Santa Mesa campus that are enrolled in the current academic year. We select the students through convenient sampling technique for it is more advantageous in an online setting. In this type of sampling technique, um, respondents were selected based on their availability and willingness to take part in the study. Through a Facebook post, um, regarding the paper that we are working on, interested students who would like to take part could message the contact person from the group, and if they finally volunteer, we will give them a questionnaire which will be used to gather their demographic profile, their time of availability, preferred platform for the interview, and their learning mode. In pursuance of this paper, we used a combination of a survey questionnaire with the use of Google Forms for us to get their demographic profile, and a recorded interview which held through various platforms such as Facebook Messenger and Google Meet that is composed of semi-structured questions that was used to gather significant data from the respondents. The recorded interview was transcribed by the assigned researchers, and we read the transcripts and generate themes from their responses. In analyzing the data, we use thematic analysis since its main strength is to identify common data, topic, and ideas from a set of interview results gathered from the respondents.
the learning resources and socioeconomic status of the participants affects on how they use it for their for the online class. So resources for the upper class, they they can provide resources without having that much of a problem, while middle class can acquire but amount, wherein they have the resources, they can connect to Wi-Fi, but not that highly advanced, rad unlike the upper class, while lower class provide, but they are struggling in other areas, and whenever they can provide, they cannot get the full benefit of the resources. So on the respondents, those are the cases that we have gathered from them. um, for the effectiveness of online class, this team occurred during the interview, and we have gathered the data, and participants have this same view on how they see the effectiveness of the online class, wherein most of them, uh, resource the resources that they have lacked is what keep them limited to access information in this current modality. And also activities and class that need stable internet connection have been a huge for them to learn. And also the problem for the connection, because for the clarity and the gathering of processing of information from the professors, or from the videos, classes, and such, have been to create uh, confusion to the students. And also, the teams also produce the external and internal factors that affected their online participation to the current modality.
There are external factors that affect their online learning effectiveness. From these external factors, we can name the internet connectivity problems. These internet connectivity problems are experienced by almost everyone, regardless of their socio-economic status or wherever they are. And another part of external factors are external noise or environment that they are in. From the students' response from our interview, we managed to learn that in their household is not only is it distraction, lot of distraction, but there are a lot of noise that may hinder their focus on attending an online class. So, in addition to this, is the incompetence of the university towards the approach from those students who can't afford to go or enroll in an online setting or attend classes online, which were the modular. These students are given instructional materials by university. However, these instructional materials are reportedly to be late in getting into the students to the students, and causes the online learning effectiveness of the current learning modalities to the correspondence to be compromised. Another general theme we gathered from the thematic analysis is that there are internal factors that affect the online learning effectiveness. These factors are such as motivation. The current setting doesn't motivate much students in attending classes or learning much based on the respondents, and that peer support is lacking compared to face-to-face classes wherein they can share their problem or struggle together. And mental health of the students were compromised during this pandemic, leading to a series of depressive episodes and lack of motivation.
So another theme that arose from the respondents was the lack of distinction between home and school. This was explained by the interviews that they had a hard time being able to balance their academics and their house responsibilities or home responsibilities, since they're actually really in just one place. Even they explained that before, whenever they went to school, they would have time and they were able to better focus on their academics. Now that they are at home, they're not really able to have a better distinction between those two responsibilities. There's a blurred line between where you should start, one responsibility and the other. And really, when there are times of need, you really have to choose one, even if you're actually just in one place. So now another theme is peer support in learning. Many of the respondents said that they really do have a hard time coping with the current learning system because of not being able to have your support system with you. While many of us see our families as a support system, the respondents said that the presence of their friends whenever they were studying or whenever they were in school was really a big help for them to be able to cope with their academics. So now that all of us are just staying at home and we communicate virtually with all our friends, um, it's really giving the respondents a hard time to cope. So lastly, we have the perception of our respondents to digital divide. So they all believe that digital divide is very evident and that many students experience this in very different aspects. So many of them believe that despite the fact that education should be given to all, this is really hard to acquire quality education, especially in this current learning system.
Overall, 7 main themes were observed in total from the data that have been gathered by the researchers from the respondents, and whose respective analyses have been elaborated earlier. These themes are, and in no particular order, the respondents' learning resources and socioeconomic status, the effectiveness of online classes, external factors that affect online learning, the incompetence of the university and the pandemic, internal factors that affect online learning, the lack of separation between home and school, peer support in learning, and the respondents' perceptions on the present digital divide. All of these themes were consistent in a majority of the respondents' answers and arose during the interviews. And by analyzing these themes, it is evident that while the digital divide exists, students from all social classes still experience struggles in the current online setting, albeit of differing degrees and reasons. The pandemic has made it hard to manage responsibilities and caused more stress to daily living in general, as can be seen in the respondents' collective displeasure of how the current situation is being handled. There is little to no confidence in the online learning setup and in the university strategy in particular. Many factors also contribute to the respondents' ability to learn properly, many of which did not exist in their lives prior to the current setting, such as the increased necessity for internet access, the diminishing separation between home and school, and less social support from peers. Finally, the respondents have pointed out the sudden drastic division in regards to access to information and education between social classes, which further supports the existence of the digital divide, a problem that has greatly escalated in the current pandemic. With this, it can now be said that the themes that have been established from the respondents' data have fulfilled the objectives of the study and will further be elaborated shortly in the conclusion.
Good day, everyone. I'm Stephen Nigel M. Balitaan, and I will tackle about our conclusion for our research. After analyzing the responses we got, we were able to come up with 4 conclusions, which are as follows. Number 1. Life struggles or hardships experienced by an individual student varies. These hardships are heightened as the academic platform shifted from having face-to-face classes to online classes. Those who are in the lower socioeconomic status experience more problems than their counterparts. Number two, students were reported to have decreased performance and motivation due to extrinsic problems such as financial capability, resource accessibility, and even environment, and intrinsic problems such as decrease in motivation, feelings of isolation, and the likes. However, those students who identified their family as one of those belonging to the lower socioeconomic status experienced more extrinsic problems along with intrinsic problems, while students who identified their family as one of those belonging to the higher counterpart experiences more intrinsic problems as resources needed are provided and does not cause them to worry. Number 3. The concept of digital divide has been proven to influence a student's performance in the current learning modalities. Naturally, those with more knowledge and has better access to technology adapted faster and better than those who have limited knowledge and resources. And lastly, number 4, not everyone is aware or as knowledgeable as the other when asked about digital divide. But this does not mean that it is non-existing, as all students agree that this issue is indeed one that needs to be addressed, especially now that the digital world has been the main platform for learning. And for the overall conclusion, these experiences of the students reflects back not only on the efficiency in the shift of learning modality, but also how crucial resource accessibility is when it comes to academic performance of a student. And now, for the recommendations.
Along with the findings and conclusions, the researchers are suggesting the following recommendations. 1. The involved institutions need to see the digital divide as an important issue to address. Furthermore, the government needs to conduct massive campaign awareness about the sad issue to enlighten the Filipino masses, especially the youth. Since it will be beneficial if the Filipinos are aware of this sad matter. Instead of having divided attention, the government could focus more on crafting plans in solving the issue. 2. The university where the students are currently enrolled needs to create better and effective plans in distributing modules to the correspondents as well as planning and implementing better policies to have better learning outcomes. Due to the reason that all the respondents, regardless of their social status or learning modalities, are currently bearing the brunt of the university's lapses in terms of distributing the modules, as well as the unrealistic and rigid guidelines concerning to the online classes. 3. Involved institutions need to provide additional assistance, especially to the equipment and internet connectivity of the marginalized student to ensure that they will be able to cope up with the current learning setup. Furthermore, providing such assistance will ensure that no one will be left behind in this current setup, since having adequate equipment and a stable internet is crucial in terms of attending classes and finishing the various tasks given by the professors and instructors. 4. Additional researches could be conducted to support other areas to be tackled in this research to increase the validity of the research. Since this topic is a pressing issue, the validity of the research related to it is crucial in understanding its nature and its possible effects. 5. Quantitative researches could be conducted to add correlation or causation for the subject matters that have been tackled. The researchers acknowledges the limitations of the qualitative research that they conducted. Hence, it will be beneficial, especially in gaining the insight in knowing the plight of the students through having quantitative research related to this subject to be conducted in the future. The proponents of the research paper are open for more information that this paper could be used for the advancement of this topic, and citation from the data are highly appreciated. Thank you.